The first extinct species back is the dire wolf. So you have to find ancient DNA. But only one tooth from this one cave ever produced any viable DNA. Extract that DNA, you run it through these sequencing machines, and it gives you those letters, right? Ancient DNA is very fragmented. So you got to do lots of sampling. You can start looking at what its closest living relatives is, and then you start to compare it all. So a dire wolf is 99.5% a gray wolf. And so once you identify those things, you use a suite of different tools, go in and edit the existing donor DNA. You make those edits. Then we use a process called somatic cell nuclear transfer, where you take the nucleus that's been out of this edited cell, put it in the nucleus of an egg cell, and then we put it actually in a large domestic dog. And then, 60 days later, we gave birth to our first little puppies.
In America alone, it's $150 billion a year in economic impact from just power outages.
Let's take an example. Every electrical pole, telephone pole, what do these stickers do? And what kind of information does it give back?
I mean, the stickers are amazing. You can deploy them in a minute and they last forever in an environment, and they give you full pattern recognition, not just simple sensor data, as though you had a technician there. And they have, we have versions with audio sensors and visual sensors and temperature and humidity and vibration and everything else you could do. So is there, in the power pole example, it's like, is there sparking of equipment? Did a transformer crack for some reason? And there's like arcing, up at the top of the pole that could trigger a wildfire. So it lets you solve that by being proactive, by having that observability.
Let's talk about some of the moonshots.
Best known, Google Brain, which is one of the things that caused the explosion of machine learning, started about 15 years ago at X. Waymo, the self-driving cars, that started at X. Wing, the drones for package delivery. Google Glass, Verily, the life science business for Alphabet. Intrinsic, which is the Alphabet's moonshot for industrial robotics, that started at X. The way we define a moonshot is with three core ingredients. One, there has to be a huge problem with the world that you can name and want to solve. Two, there has to be some kind of science fiction sounding product or service that, however unlikely it is you could make it, we can agree ahead of time, if you could make it, it would probably solve that huge problem with the world. And then three, there has to be some reason to believe that that's not just a fantasy. Some kind of technology breakthrough gives us at least a prayer of making that science fiction sounding product or service that would then allow us to go solve that huge problem with the world.
I really think about Good Inside as being expert in imperfect parenting. So if what felt familiar was someone being perfect and getting it right all the time, God help that child, there's really no partner out there. But if what feels familiar is someone who doesn't get it right the first time, but when they don't, they really take ownership and they come back and they repair, that's the best it gets. And I think that's what Good Inside stands for. I really believe we're very well positioned to have, as big of an impact as any company on how the world actually operates, because there's obviously policy, there's so many big societal things that affect, every generation. What also affects every generation is literally what happens in each person's home.